we're moving into selecting our offering as well as what context we want to use from the library. Hit that next button. So typically for your offering, whether that is a product or a service, you are going to have one element or definition already there within Octave, and you most likely are not going to have multiple unless you were a true multi-product company. And if you are, you're going to want to ensure that this sequence agent is essentially selling the right product. So we can go to manual mode instead of auto and select the specific one that you have stored. After you select the offering, the next step is choosing what library context to use. Now, there are basically two approaches here. One is using Playbooks, and the other is customizing it manually. So we're going to start with the context selection using Playbooks first, because it's a lot easier. So if you already have Playbooks defined within Octave, which are these really tight focus strategies, which you defined, and you've also defined like the specific scenarios where you want to use these playbooks. If you already have that, then you can basically have this agent choose the best playbook at runtime. So this auto mode, what it is at runtime, meaning when you're running this through your automation, it's going to go to the person's LinkedIn profile, their company domain, and based on that, it's going to first decide, like, okay, there's all these playbooks to choose from in your library. I'm going to choose the best one and use that specific focus strategy. What that's going to do is it's going to constrain the output, the context selection, to that specific playbook. So it's basically going to be like, okay, these are really tight focus strategies. It's going to be on best match playbook mode, and you're letting Octave choose the right focus strategy to use intelligently. Now, let's say the list that you have is already pretty focused. So, like, you know everyone is a VP of engineering at a Series B company. Then you can basically just build a single playbook around that and just like hard code this agent to that specific playbook. So you'll just want to go from auto mode, you'll want to go to manual mode, and then you can choose that specific playbook for that specific audience. Now, let's say you don't want to use a specific playbook. You can customize the context in any way that you want. This is where things can get very, very nuanced in what context you're actually using. So you can, instead of being on playbook mode, you can go to customize. And what that does is you can be very specific around, okay, instead of using a playbook which already has a few personas and it's already linked to a use case and it's already linked to a segment and it already has its reference customers, instead of that, you are just going to define this on your own. You're going to say, like, I'm going to bundle together specific stuff from this library that matters to me. So maybe you will say, like, okay, choose the best persona to message based on their persona, just like figure out which one they are and use that one. Or say, like, okay, we know what this persona in this list is. We are going to only create messaging for that persona. Same thing with use cases. It's like, it could be that you're like, oh, just let it go on its own and choose the best use case to use in the messaging. Or it's like, okay, no, I want to use the specific use case or these specific 3 use cases to actually choose from. And the same goes for all the different elements here. And yeah, you can also see value props. And value props is like, if you toggle these on, then we will basically generate like persona-specific versions of the story to each person, or each person in the list based on their persona. If you turn these off, then everyone in your list is basically going to get the same value prop or the same type of story. So yeah, that is context selection. A big change there from the previous version, which didn't have the ability to customize whatever context you want. And before, you could only do it from playbooks. So that's one thing there for our more advanced users. if they want to be more creative with how they use and combine their context in Octave. I would say bottom line for context selection, if you have tight playbooks that you really trust, just use best match mode and let Octave pick the right one for you. If your list is already super tight, hard code to one playbook. Really, only if you need custom control, then do this customize thing and manually pick which context you want to use. Another reason for that is if you have playbooks and you set it on auto mode, then it saves a lot of time with configuring this step, and we can just move on to the next thing. And speaking of which, that brings us to the end of this video. And our next thing, now that we have our offering selected and our context selection dialed in, we are going to configure our writing style. So letting you get highly opinionated and highly nuanced with what copy this is putting out and generating. And we'll go over that in the next video. Thank you.